If you've been paying attention to the superannuation fund league tables, I suggest you stop for one simple reason, that they are very meaningless. Let me explain. Funds are grouped together according to their supposed risk profile. There are balanced funds, there are growth funds, there are conservative funds, etc. There are two problems though. Firstly, there is no consensus as to what the term balanced means in terms of its split between its aggressive investments and its more conservative investments. Some funds, and this is at the more conservative end, go 60-40 split, 60% in a balanced fund in growth investments, 40% in defensive investments. However, that is by far from the case that is uniform. There are others that go up to an 80-20 split, and of course that has worked fine for them while the market has been going along well. They'll have 80% in the share market and assets such as property and so on, and 20% in what they deem to be conservative investments. However, when the market turns around, that sort of mixture is a very different animal from the 60-40 split. The second big problem is that there is no consensus as to what constitutes a growth investment on the one hand or a conservative investment on the other. For example, at the conservative end of the equation, pardon the confusion, but at the conservative end of the equation, people look at conservative investments as being at short-term government bonds and cash, and that's it. At the other end, however, and this is a particular case in industry funds, they often bring in things like infrastructure and real estate holdings and so on as being conservative investments on the grounds that they produce a regular income stream. Yeah, they may well do, but when markets turn around, those assets will perform very differently from the ones that have their conservative investments in bonds and cash, especially if those infrastructure and real estate investments have been geared up. So when you think about it, there are two important criteria for classifying funds according to their risk profile. On the one hand, the mix between growth and conservative investments, and on the other hand, the makeup of growth and conservative investments. And in both cases, there is absolutely no consensus at all. So take away those two and the end result is a meaningless number. So I suggest when you read those league tables, leave it, go and look at the next page in the newspaper, even allowing for journalistic hubris and journalistic twisting of things at times. It'll be more informative than what you'll read in the league tables.